Hey, what's up you guys? So I'm with my friend Trell, and in today's video we're going to give you 10 underrated side deck cards that you can use, I don't know what that was, in today's meta. These are taking into account new cards like Soul Charge and some of the stuff released in Primal Origins, so here's how you can get a fighting chance against the meta. So, here we go.
First card we're going to pick out of this one is going to be Soul Release.
Pretty nifty card.
Extremely old card, very nifty. There's a lot of decks that focus on graveyard, some kind of effects that are reoccurring or that may cause a problem in the end. Soul Release just hits a lot of decks in this meta and in the future meta. Pretty much, it takes any 5 cards from either graveyard, which is really good. So you can hit Boojins, you know, take out that hare and that turtle. You can hit Mermails, take out those rank 7s, that title.
And since every deck runs Soul Charge now, like literally every deck runs like 2 to 3 Soul Charge now, a Soul Release can really be important. Yeah. Like, just get that stuff out of the grave. Don't let it come back.
They can't use it anymore.
Because Soul Charge brings back too many cards. For a lot of decks, it's just too much to handle. So if you can use something like Soul Release to get rid of their cards, power to you. The next card is DD Assailant. This is an interesting monster that a lot of people kind of forget in favor of like DD Warrior Lady. But what most people don't know is DD Assailant banishes the monster that destroys it in battle, no matter what. No matter what. So it doesn't like have to go to the grave. Nothing really has to happen, and this is a good out to cards like Beals, cards like any of the Noble Knights. Whenever they get a lot of their equipped spells on and they're just invincible to everything, cards like this can just deal with them.
Yeah, and it doesn't target either, which is really, really good in this format.
Yeah, and so you can set it just like you do DD Warrior Lady, but you know, you can also just swing into things if, you know, push comes to shove, just run into the Beals if you need to get rid of it that turn.
Yeah, it's a nice 1700 attack, so you can pretty much run into whatever you need to run it into. They can't negate the effect off field, like I said. It doesn't have to, like you said, it doesn't have to go to the graveyard, so it's a really good tech. I'm actually going to pick Darkfall. And for those of you who don't know what Darkfall is, Darkfall originally was named Dark Trap Hole, which I'm still kind of iffy as to why they changed the name. I believe maybe Trap Trace, but somebody else told me something different. But Darkfall pretty much just says whenever your opponent summons 2 or more monsters at the same time, you destroy those monsters and all copies of that monster in their hand and or deck. So it like rapes Gear. It pretty much rapes any deck that has a lot of recurring monsters that come out 2 at a time. And excuse me, like he said, everybody's running Soul Charge, so you're pretty much guaranteed to hit at least 1 or 2 of those monsters. You pretty much send them right back to the grave, and you pretty much get rid of all the copies. If you get rid of every copy of Yamato in a Boojin player's deck, then it causes a problem for him. So.
If I'm not mistaken, it actually does just send the cards to the graveyard.
Yeah, actually sends. Right, sends
those face-up cards to the graveyard. So it doesn't actually destroy. So very good for avoiding a few specific cards, and certain things can't resist it. So good card, Darkfall. Next card is Stumbling. Stumbling is something that is really old, and for whatever reason, some people think it's like a newbie trash card. But what Stumbling does is a continuous spell, and whenever a monster is normal, special, or flip summoned, right?
Yeah. All
3 of those, it is immediately changed to defense position. And it seems like, oh, well, you're not plussing or anything. But changing monsters to defense on summon actually hurts just a lot of decks. It hurts things like Noble Knights, where their monster just kind of gets put in defense. Yeah. A lot of their spells don't give them any more defense, and, you know, Fire Fists.
Yeah, it hurts Fire Fists. Okay, so you summon Barrier, you put it in defense. Okay, you pop my monster, but you can't attack and do damage to me. So you're pretty much you're not gaining any kind of advantage. Like, really good.
A lot of the swarm decks, a lot of the beatdown decks that just kind of try to overpower you by swinging over. You just put stuff in defense, and everything has such lower defense points than it does attack points these days that it can really make a difference. And so what you have to remember is that this does apply to you as well. But this helps if you're using it in a deck like, say, Spellbooks, where, you know, it's kind of a slow roll deck. It doesn't have a lot of offensive power from the get-go.
Right.
And you kind of need your opponent to be slowed down as well so that you can start accumulating your advantage. I feel like even Boojins could use this card. I don't like Boojins, but if you play Boojins, then, you know, this could even be something in addition to like Kaiser Coliseum. So yeah. Stumbling, cool card.
Stumbling, look into it. One of my personal favorites actually is Skullmeister. Skullmeister pretty much says whenever a card effect activates in the graveyard during either player's turn, you pitch it from the hand and you negate that effect. Really, really good for those players who cannot, because most players, if you're playing mirror match, let's just say you're playing Boojin. We're gonna just say that, or you're playing Mermails, and we know that your weakness is Soul Drain. You can't play Soul Drain in your own deck because it hurts you as well. But you can play things like Skullmeister because it works against your opponent and it does not stop anything that you're trying to do. So it's just one of those one-sided cards that's really good. and it's also a monster. It's also a Dark Fiend as well. So if push comes to shove, if you have a Skullmeister in hand, it's got 1700 attack. You can summon and just swing away with it. It's really, really good. It stops pretty much, and it also works on damage calc. So like, if you kill like a giant rat or something like that, they go to activate effect, Skullmeister stops it. I mean, I've Skullmeistered E-Dragons before. I've Skullmeistered Garunix before. It's just a really good card to look into.
My next pick is Mystical Ref Panel. This is a card that got a bit of attention during the Dragon Roller format, mainly because you can use it against their 7 Swords of the Stars or whatever, and Gold Sark, and get those effects for yourself. In today's game, you can use Mystical Ref Panel against several spells. You can use it against a Tinky if you know you have Beast Warriors. You use it against their Tinky, you get your search, things like that. You can use this against Soul Charge, right? I believe Mystical Ref Panel.
Because it works just with one player, so yeah.
I think you can Mystical Ref Panel on a Soul Charge. You can use it on Pot of Duality. It's really quite, I wouldn't say like a versatile card, but it's kind of a nifty card. Like I don't think people would expect you to play this kind of thing, and when you do,
it's a shocker.
Lose their Tinky Search and things like that. Their Tinky's useless, you get the Search. Their Pot's useless. So you can usually end up plussing off of this.
Right.
So it's kind of one of my favorites for that reason, if nothing else.
Actually, the next card that I'm choosing is Big Burn. It's another old card, but it's actually really good. Pretty much it says whenever your opponent targets a monster in the graveyard, you banish all monsters from either graveyard.
Card's really amazing. Really big effect. Like, Soul Charges and everything
Soul
now.
Charge,
we can't emphasize this enough.
Pretty much anything that's gonna touch anything in the graveyard, like immediately just nuke the graveyard.
Boom,
so
it's all gone.
If your opponent is playing 3 Soul Charges, they just have 3 dead cards in their deck at that point because now there's no monsters to bring back.
Like
anyway.
you activate this and it's just kind of like, well,
it's a trap card. Normal trap is really fun. It's really cheap. It's a super rare, but it's really old. So a lot of people haven't seen it. Then some people see it, just they kind of overlook it. But I think it's gonna be one of those cards that's really good. If Soul Charge decides to stay around, or any deck that can bring back monsters from the graveyard, yeah, Big Burn something to look into.
Next card is Banisher of the Radiance. This seems like it'd be like an obvious pick, but it's kind of fallen out of favor these days. Banisher of the Radiance is just a Macrocosmos on legs, and it just does that job. You can banish Mermail stuff. You can banish Bujin stuff.
They can't do anything.
People aren't able to do stuff. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just while it's in the field, it's a hindrance for your opponent. And some little known things is like, it's a level 3 monster, so things like Crane can bring it back.
Yeah.
If it goes to the grave.
But it's level 3. It has 1600 attack, so pretty much you summon it out there. They pretty much the thing is that opposed to like D-Fissure or macros that everybody's running MSCs and things like that. So pretty much they're gonna have the MSC for their macro at some point. But with you having a live monster on the field,
yeah, they have to actually deal with it.
Yeah, they actually have to get out there, probably attack it, do something, Book of Moon, Dark Hole. They have to wait something to get over it before they can go into a combo. So even if they can pull a combo off, they pretty much got to neg themselves first just to get around it. So it's a lot better than the macro and D-Fissure. So if they're having 1600 attack for a level 3 is really good as well. All right, you guys, for the next card we have Shared Ride. Now this card, it came before it's released. It got a lot of hype and everybody was talking about it. And then after a while, it just kind of died down. Like I have a play set up, and I didn't pick them up for hardly anything. I do feel like it's going to actually become a more relevant card, especially for side deck. It's just pretty much anytime your opponent goes to add a card to your hand from graveyard or deck, you immediately draw a card after whatever that effect is resolved.
So it's kind of like maxi for searching.
Yeah, pretty much. It was really good. It kills prophecies. If they go Blue Boy or they go Secrets and you activate it, they're pretty much going to end their turn because they can't really do much to you and they don't want to give you that much advantage. So I mean, it's just good against. Right. It's a good one-up against like if your opponent has a Mikazuchi and Yamato on the field. Like,
yeah, you can get a lot of pluses.
Yeah, a lot of pluses from things like that. It also goes from the graveyard as well, so it really works against like Gear Gaia. Really works really well against Gear Gaia because Gear X can go from the graveyard or the deck, and we know that Gear Armor goes from the deck. So they're always searching. So any deck that does like a lot of searching, that card's just a free plus. Right. Most decks do a lot of searching.
Even at a basic level, just Pot of Duality.
Yeah.
Tinky, things like that. Just the basic kind of
things where Max C would not be relevant, pretty much. So yeah, Shed Ride's a really good card for that.
Try it out while it's still cheap-ish.
You can't have mine though.
The last card is Summon Limit. This is sort of a trap that I guess some people maybe know about. Summon Limit is just a continuous trap, and it says neither player can special summon, or not special summon, just summon more than 2 times per turn. So basically this means that if, say, on a basic level, if say I summon a tour guide, use its effect, got another tour guide, I can't exceed. Same with like something like Rescue Rabbit. In today's game, where there are special summons out the ass everywhere. This, you can see the application.
It stops OTKs for sure.
Like, you won't be getting OTK'd. The soul charge combos won't be getting like stupid.
Right.
It's a card to just sort of like inconvenience your opponent. And a lot of times people can't get around, like, you know, people usually want to like Draco Sack to pop it or something like that, use Summoning Seed to pop it. And if they can't actually make the Draco Sack because like they're special summoning both the monsters that they're using to, you know, get to it, they're stuck.
Yeah.
But anyways, those are 10 cool side deck cards. Yes, 10 cards that you can try out in your side deck.
Counting with Yu-Gi-Oh!
A bit underrated, and they can help against the meta. They help against the popular new cards like Soul Charge and everything else. If you guys thought that these were good, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also, in the comments, share some other underrated side deck cards that you guys like to use. We always like to hear your opinions.
Right.
And we can have a bit of a discussion in the comments. Maybe include some of those picks in a future video like this. And yeah, it'd be fun. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more great Yu-Gi-Oh videos. And we talk to you guys later.
And it's great.
Yeah.
Is that racist?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Mine's not though, so.
But you're not black, so it's not. Okay.
Yeah, I hate when like sometimes these are like awkward to go in. I feel like I'm
Go in.
Won't fit. Okay, no, it slid in pretty well. That wasn't. Okay, anyway.
Oh God.